Well, hello, and welcome once again to 25 o'clock. I'm your host, Dan Drago. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me on the show. Here we are, Philadelphia's longest-running music podcast, I believe, coming to you from very, very far away. Greetings from Hong Kong, everyone. We're starting to get used to this. Here it is, the second episode in this sort of new way of doing the show. But if you're just joining us for the first time right here, the show is still all about Philadelphia music and Philadelphia artists and the community. And I just happen to currently live in Hong Kong. That's sort of what's happening right now. But hey, in this day and age of technological advances, who's to say that you can't do a Philadelphia podcast while also living in Hong Kong? And the answer is probably some people would say that you can't do that. But not me. I'm not one of those people. But welcome to the show. Welcome to 25 o'clock. This month, talking with Sovei, an amazing artist, soulful sound collage artist, amazing singer, just artist. I'm going to use the word artist a lot for Sovei because to simply call Sovei a musician or a singer-songwriter or something like that, it very much applies to them. They are a singer-songwriter. They are a musician, but they are so much more. I feel like they inject art into every single creative endeavor that they go into. And John and Paige over in Philadelphia have a great conversation with Sovei. I really enjoyed editing it and listening to it. It has really, I said this last week too with the Chris and Dalen interview, and I'll say it with this one with the Sovei interview. It is really enjoyable for me to just sort of sit back, hear the whole conversation after it happened, because I wasn't there and I couldn't impact anything that happened in the conversation, and to listen and, to make my edits here and there, but just sort of hear it for the first time, which is a new experience for me. Normally when I would edit a conversation, I'm the one who had the conversation. So, it wasn't the first time for me, but this time it is. And it's very, very cool. So big ups to John Vettese and Paige Walter over in Philadelphia for taking up the mantle for me on this one, for doing the interviews, for sitting with the people of Philadelphia, because it is physically impossible for me to do so. But anyway, we'll talk more about Sovei. We'll talk more about what's happening this week, this month. I keep saying week. I've been saying week for 10 years. And so I'm going to say week when I mean month, and I'm going to correct myself. And that's going to happen perpetually for a long time. But anyway, we'll talk more about Sovei and what's going on this week. But as always, if you're new to the show, old to the show, medium to the show, I highly recommend you check out 25o'clockpod.com. Everything's there. All the episodes available for streaming and for downloading. You can get them all. You can sign up for the mailing list. I send out an email every time there's new episodes. So, right now, once a month, you will get an email from me. I'm letting you know about the artist, letting you know about some other things that are on my mind, giving little updates of what I'm up to over here in Hong Kong. And, of course, you can also hook up with us on the socials. We're on Instagram. I've got the Substack kind of up and running right now a little better. We're on Blue Sky. We're out there. We're out there in the world. Go check out the link tree in any of our socials, and it'll connect you to all the other socials, sort of like a web ring. You remember web rings back in the 90s? Okay, I'm old and I remember that. It's like a web ring, but not at all like a web ring. Anyway, of course, at 25o'clockpod.com, you can also go to the friends and neighbors page. I like anyone and everyone who's ever been on the show. So like an excellent example here is you're listening to the conversation with Sovei and you think they're an outstanding, amazing, artistic human being. And you're like, I want to check out their work. I want to see their music. Boom. Go to the Friends and Neighbors page, click on the Sovei episode link, take you right there, take you right to their Bandcamp, to their website, let you know how to buy their music, when they're playing, how to support them. You can sign up for their mailing list, things like that. You do all that at 25o'clockpod.com. Also want to shill a little bit, because I always love to shill for this. The compilation that we have for 25 o'clock up on Bandcamp, it's a compilation of 10 different performances, live performances that have happened on the show, over the years. I compiled 10 of them together, and it's called Want to Play a Song Live on 25 o'clock Volume 1. It's available exclusively on Bandcamp, and I donate 100% of the money that it makes to a different Philadelphia music charity. And right now, that music charity is Rock to the Future. So if you haven't checked out the compilation, all the links are on the website and in the link trees and on the socials. But if you go to Bandcamp, 25 O'Clock Pod, and it's called Want to Play a Song, Live on 25 O'Clock, Volume 1. 10 unique performances. And like I said, all the money that I raise from it goes to music charity. And right now, I'm raising money for Rock to the Future, a great after-school music program in Philadelphia that I was fortunate enough to be a part of when I was living there. So check that out as well. What else we got going? I guess Hong Kong updates. It's getting warmer here right now. I'm told by the locals that I haven't seen warm yet. I do know it gets quite hot, quite tropical here in the next few months. But quite nice right now. We actually had a few nights. I'm in the new apartment on Mawan Island, and for the first couple of nights we were here, it was getting down into the 50s at night, which can happen here at this time of year in Hong Kong. They consider that quite cold. The thing is that like apartments in Hong Kong, they don't have heat because heat is almost unnecessary for most of the year, for nearly all the year, except on certain nights where it breaks down to the 50s. So I'm wandering around, turning on all the air units, all the air split units up on the ceiling, trying to figure out how to get them to be warm. And of course, they're never going to be warm because they don't do that. So it was interesting. It was like camping for a couple of nights. We just took every blanket that we had in the apartment and piled it on the bed, and that's how I slept for a couple of nights. But Interesting learning curve. I believe for next season, I will make sure that I have a space heater here for just such occasions. But yeah, that'll be a funny Hong Kong story I'll tell for the rest of my life. The first week in my new apartment in Hong Kong, and it was so cold, and we didn't have any heat because why would you have heat? You really don't need it here. What else we got going on? Listening to a lot of music. We'll get into that a little bit because I'm going to play some music but before we get into the interview. But yeah, just enjoying my time here, working pretty steadily. So I got that going for me. I've got something to do most days. And something I did want to note without getting too much into it and not because I don't think that it's important things to talk about, but just from being not in the USA right now, I can only speak to it so much, but I just want to let all my American friends and listeners, which is nearly all of you, we are aware over here of what's going on in the USA. We get the same news. My news feed on my phone hasn't really changed from when I lived in the States to when I live here. And aside from it just being, horrendously heartbreaking, watching the absolutely just sort of callous sale of everything that you think is great about your country happening in just at breakneck speed. I just want all my American listeners to know that I'm having a lot of conversations over here in Hong Kong with people, not even just people from the States, expats, but expats from all over. And everyone is just generally aghast and confused and really, really upset about what's going on in the USA right now. This sort of just bargain basement fire sale of literally everything that's not nailed down to oligarchs. And it's interesting to sit over here and formulate more than just an opinion of being like, well, that's bad. Because of course it's bad. That's bare minimum engagement right there. But to see it from the perspective from another part of the world, especially being so close to China that I am right now, and China being bandied about by this administration in the States as the big boogeyman, it's just very, very interesting to get it from the perspective over here. And I won't speak too much on that because I simply don't have the knowledge I just don't have enough to say about it in a way that would be useful. Now, we all know that doesn't really stop a lot of other people from running their mouths about issues, but I'm going to stop it. I just want everyone to know that everyone I'm talking to over here, we we're as incensed, well, not as incensed as you are because you're living in it and we get to see it from afar, but we are as disheartened as you. And what I find with a lot of the expat community, it's sort of a self-selecting community from kind of all over the world. Anyone who bothers to pick up their entire life and move to a completely different part of the world tends to be, for the most part, fairly left-leaning, educated. I don't even just mean higher educated, but just like culturally educated. Culturally curious, globally curious, I guess is a term I would use. So when I'm talking to people over here about things going on in the States, I'm talking to people who, have, maybe Hong Kong isn't even the first place they've ever been an expat in. These are people who've been around the world, seen a lot of different things, experienced a lot of different things, and look at what's going on right now and have a perspective on that is, to me, when I have these conversations with people, very helpful. It's all perspective. Now, that doesn't help in the day-to-day over there. And I'm incredibly heartened to see so many people organizing, so many people getting out in the streets, so many people making their voices heard, protesting. I saw great pictures and film from the demonstration in Philadelphia this last week. It helps when I see those things come across my news feed on top of all the horrible shit that comes across my news feed. It is incredibly useful and sustaining to me to see Americans gathering, as is their right, to protest things that they think are unfair, protest things that they think aren't acceptable, that aren't in line with, what we think of ourselves as people. And I'm going to stop rambling, but I just want everyone to know I haven't mentioned much about what's going on in the States in the last, the last episodes, or even on my socials. Again, that's not really what the show is about. The show is about music and art and community, but all those things are tied together in, politics. And when you see, a country divesting itself completely of any cultural diversity, any cultural, artistic endeavors, anything that offers up a perspective other than the one that the people in power want you to have. Those things, this show is about those things. So anyway, that's my piece. Thank you all for listening to my rambling. Hopefully a lot of you skipped through a lot of that. But anyway, let's talk about what's going on today on the show. So we're definitely going to hear this conversation with Sovei that John Vettese and Paige Walter had over in Philadelphia. But I thought I would play some music for you. I thought I would play some tracks, some of the stuff I'm listening to, some new stuff coming out right now in Philadelphia from artists. So let's just get right into some music. And I want to play this track from a band called Long Spells, which kind of came across my desk probably right around the time that I was getting ready to leave and move over here. But Long Spells are a Philadelphia band. They've got some music out right now. It's produced by Jeff Ziegler over at Uniform Recording, an amazing producer and a friend of mine. I love any and all output that comes from Jeff Ziegler's studios. But they have a new single out right now. It's called Fill My Mind. I really dig this band. There's only a couple of singles out there currently, but they've been around Philly for a little while. And let's just get into it. Let's get into some music. So check out this song, Fill My Mind, from the band Long Spells.
Broken flaps like a flower. world on your own. You set me off like I could find out way too long without you. Tell me of sending, feel real good. Fill my mind to erase my curfew, fantasize on your own. The world on your own. You sent me off like I could find out way too long without you. That element of sending feel real good.
That's music from Polaroid Fade right there. It's a song called Cotton Candy Skies from their LP, Chaos into Poetry. I've been listening to this Polaroid Fade record quite a bit since I've got here in Hong Kong. And I have to thank WXPN's Mike Vasilikos for hipping me to this band and to this record. Polaroid Fade are pretty much making music for people exactly my age. Even though I think everyone in the band is definitely in their early 20s, their lead singer might only be like 19 or something like that. Anyways, if you're a fan of bands like the Sundays and the Smiths and the Cocteau Twins, all that kind of dreamy 80s and 90s sort of psychedelic jangle rock, definitely give this album a spin or two. It's called Chaos into Poetry. I'm looking forward to see what this band grows into. This is an outstanding debut. And I've been spinning it quite a bit. And if you want to check it out, go to the clickable playlist for this episode. It's in all the socials and it's on the website as well. So, you can just click on the track of the artist you like and it takes you right to their Bandcamp, their website, someplace where you can where you can get their music. But yeah, really, really enjoy that music from Polaroid Fade right there. Going to switch gears a little bit, play some tunes from a new compilation that's out right now from Impetus Records. Impetus Records is a punk label out of Wilmington, Delaware. I've featured music from this label before throughout the years, particularly I think their bands Kobika and Think Machine. I've featured those bands before. But yeah, they're an outstanding record label, definitely from the spirit of those kind of like 80s and 90s small independent punk labels that every region seemed to have one of. So let's hear a couple of tracks from this compilation. It's called Between Two Cities, a Delaware punk sampler. Let's hear a track from a band called Penny Death. This is a song called Cleaver Soul Spit from Impetus Records.
Life's been heaven sent, standing in the door, and hell-bent cigarette pieces on the floor. If I ever picked them up and glued them back, I'd see another broken mirror looking at me, look at me.
Prescribed, but goddamn, it's helping me.
Don't tell us that it's true. Don't tell us that it's true. Don't tell us that it's true. I am
That's music from Kobika right there, a track called Stalactites, also from the Between Two Cities, a Delaware punk sampler that is out now from Impetus Record. Like I said at the top of the set, I featured Kobika before on the show, along with their label mates Think Machine. I like everything I've heard from this label. It definitely reminds me of the spirit a lot of us remember of making music back like in the 90s and early 2000s. It's that sort of DIY spirit that, like, if there's not a scene around you, if there's not the thing around you that you want there to be, then you go and you make it. So definitely check out the Impetus Records Bandcamp. There's a ton of great artists on there, aside from the two I just played. And check out that whole sampler. It's very, very cool. I really enjoy it. Going to check out some music here from Taylor Kelly. Taylor Kelly is someone near and dear to my heart, not just as a great artist, but she's also from my hometown in Rochester, New York. And this particular track I'm going to play for you is just really interesting, just interesting sort of, coincidences and things. So Taylor is originally from Rochester, New York, and so am I. And last summer, I worked the Rochester Lilac Festival, and I got to meet all the bands that played. And one of the bands that played was this band from Richmond, Virginia called Butcher Brown. They're like a soul funk band from Raleigh, Virginia. And the frontman, Marcus, also does music under the name Tennishu. And Tennishu did the remix and lays down a couple of verses on this remix for Taylor Kelly's song Take Me. So it's just interesting that all that kind of like goes together, and like sort of the focal point on that story is Rochester, New York, which is, I'm here for it. But anyway, I had the pleasure of getting to know the guys from Butcher Brown a little bit, and I've known Taylor for quite a bit. She's also the most recent guest on John Fay's Talking at the Diner podcast. So definitely check that out. She gets into it. It's a really, really great conversation. And speaking of John Fay, and is it even an episode if we don't talk about John Fay for a second? He's a recent guest on Your Next Favorite Band, podcast out of Lehigh Valley that my friend Phil and Dave run. So there's a lot of podcasts that you have to listen to. You can hear John Fay on Your Next Favorite Band, and you can hear Taylor on John Fay's podcast, Talking at the Diner. But how about we just play this song? So this is the remix of Take Me by Taylor Kelly featuring Tennishu.
Just bass and blow. Turn it up loud, recline and ride slow. Mezzy in my cup on this beat that I flow like I'm online where the main line water go. A scenario where Arsenio heard a stereo. Tennishu, I spit the flame everywhere I go. I can relate because you fly, so take me where you go. Let's take a ride through the backside. Slide heavy till we tired in the city. 11:30 now, took it to the party, so we litty. Back porch, see-through bag, nitty-gritty. I'm kinda loud in the passenger. Real life situation steady coming after you. Take me above the treetop with no flip-flop. And I'm feeling great, remember I can't stop, man.
Can't deny I'm feeling great. You're so fly, I can relate. Can't deny I'm feeling great. You're so fly, I can relate. Can't deny I'm feeling great. You're so fly, I can relate. Can't deny I'm feeling great. Can't deny I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great.
That's music from Moor Mother right there, featuring Sovei, which is this episode's guest. That song is called Stories. It's from Moor Mother's album Jazz Codes from a couple years back. I wanted to include an example of Sovei working with Moor Mother because Sovei has appeared on a few tracks with them. And they talk about it with John and Paige in the conversation that you're about to hear. So let's get in there. Let's get into Sovei mode now. Going to start with a track from Sovei, one of their newest tracks. It's called Big World. The most recent single, I believe, from them came out in January of this year. They recorded it at the heralded Minor Street Studios with Brian McTeer and Amy Morrissey. And we're going to hear this tune, and then we're just going to go right into the conversation with John Vettese and Paige Walter and Sovei back in Philadelphia. So enjoy.
is there room enough for me? I'd like to know you, like you to know me, like you to see me. I mean, really see how soft is your voice. I'd love to hear what you say when you think no one's paying attention. I wanna release the tension. I mean, can we just fall? How safe is your touch? Would you like to show me? Would you like to know me? We'll take it slow. There is no rush. I just wanna know that you want this just as much. How big is your world? And is there room enough for me? I'd like to know you, like you to know me. I mean, can we just fall? We'll take it slow. There is no rush. I just wanna know that you want this just as like you to know me, like you to see me. Really see.
Dan always does this thing where he like ramps up to the beginning of the podcast with just kind of like incidental in media res conversation.
Yeah.
You had banter like forecasted for this conversation.
I was thinking of just like, I wanted to ask you your IG story the other week about encores should not be more
sure.
than 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
And then I responded. It wasn't a story. It was that bubble
Yeah.
like status thing.
Yeah.
And I responded and I was like, oh dear God, because that artist had been in XPN Studios earlier that day and I knew exactly what you were talking about. And then you were like,
Yeah.
it was even longer.
It was even longer. It was probably 45 minutes. I'm like, why am I
No,
still
no.
here? Just, yeah, out of respect for the people who are working. Let them go home.
Is that something that like you find a lot where it's just like you're in this space at work and it's like the show is just just a strange thing is going on at the show and you just don't know how to deal, and you're just sitting there like, why is this still happening? Why is this still?
Oh yeah, all the time. It's totally like shifted my perspective of live music. I like am more aware now of like people who are working at venues.
Yeah.
And like what, their experience there, and like, yeah.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
always something
it's
weird happening.
cliched and it's overplayed now, but tip your bartender.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously. Coat check, your ticket scanners, be nice. Just be nice.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I guess we wanted to start the conversation of you as an artist with, just we're wondering, how long have you known you wanted to be an artist, and when did music like first strike you?
I think art has always been a huge part of my life, and I think that all of my strongest memories from childhood are art related. So like I can go as far back as like kindergarten, having an art project where we had to build I had to build my dog out of like an egg carton and like paper towel roll. So art has just like been the thing that has stuck with me and been the most fun. In 3rd grade, we studied Edgar Allan Poe, and I got really into poetry, and that was like, I think probably the first time I felt like, oh, this is my art form. And then in 5th grade, I was in like a cabaret thing for a little bit, and that's when I guess I learned I could sing. My mom was convinced that I could not sing for a very long time because I was singing this Halloween song that's really bad and has no tune, where it's like HALLO, and like you're just spelling Halloween, and it sounds terrible, but that's the song. It wasn't my fault. So I guess 5th grade was when I was like, oh, they can sing, and then I was in like a musical.
What musical were you in?
I was in The Wiz. I played
Nice.
Dorothy.
Oh,
in 6th
lead
grade.
role. That's
That's the role. Everybody, So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I knew that this was what I wanted to do until, in undergrad, I studied theater. So that's what I thought I wanted to do.
Like act or
playwriting.
Oh,
So I was always
interesting.
into writing. Like I applied to schools for like writing programs. And then I was in an a cappella group in undergrad. I didn't really like commit to music until I was much older and just like had already graduated, had gone to grad school for a semester and was like for art. And then I was like, no, that's not it.
Were you in Philly at this time?
Grad school was in Brooklyn. And yeah, it was literally first semester. And it was right before the pandemic too. Like I left and then the pandemic happened and I was like, oh, I'm really glad I left because that would have been not fun to do. Yeah, so then I moved to Philly, I think 2017 or like 2016, 2017. Well, I guess, so that was before grad school. See, I've been back and forth between New York and Philly.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the kind of progression that your music has taken in that time. Because when you first sent me your music, it was the songs. Was the EP called Small?
It was, yes.
So it was these songs that were very sparse and solitary, and it was just I think it was a little bit of acoustic guitar accompaniment and your voice. And even with those minimal elements, it was super striking. And then Paige and I saw you up here, I think, doing a show with Eliza Edens.
And To Be Frank.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like a ensemble version. So this
Yeah.
was not. This is when you were making music under Just Mad Nice.
Yeah.
So it was. Oh, they have more players with them. And then when you recorded your studio session, it was the kind of free-flowing Eric Kramer music circle of players that just expanded, that was just an expansive like 10 or 15 minutes of free-flowing poetry and melody and sound, and it was gorgeous. And then not long after that is kind of when you launched the Sovei era of your work. I was just wondering if you could talk about that progression, like from the very beginning. such simplicity to such grandeur to what is now kind of it feels like it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, for sure. So I think the beginning was truly just like what I was able to do with just learning guitar. And so that's why it was very simple. And then, yeah, I think as I became more of a community member in Philly and got to meet Eric and everyone in that circle, I sort of was just saying yes to everything and like allowing the experimentation to happen. And I think that's what that Just Mad Nice was really just like, let's go for it. I don't really know what I want right now, but like I really like to make music. I like to sing, and I love experimenting. I love improv. I love big sounds, and it was also fun. You know, I think I was really just playing because it's like everyone's so good at playing their instruments. So it was like really exciting to just be a part of that. And then transitioning to Sovei, I feel like I'm just, you know, I've grown as a musician, I've grown as a songwriter, and I have more of an idea of what I want to sound like. And so I'll always like have the like improv, free-flowing largeness of Just Mad Nice, and then also bring in the like sparse, delicate, intimate feelings of the small EP era. Yeah, I mean, you said it. It's kind of a combination of both, where I'm trying to be more specific with my choices.
Yeah, we were talking off mic a little
Yes,
bit.
yes,
Just
we were.
like what happens after you put in your, you know, what is it, 100,000 hours?
Some
10,000
number of
hours?
thousand, 10,000. I think it's 10,000.
10,000 hours?
100,000 seems like a really
Seems like
long time.
A whole lot. But what happens when you know,
Yeah.
when you pass that, you know, and you have a clearer vision of what it is that you want, and that's kind of what it seems like Sovei is now, and maybe the shedding of Just Mad Nice is that leveling up.
Yeah, totally. Like even in the name, Just Mad Nice came from a Tumblr account I had where the like line at the top said no method here, just madness, and like Just Mad Nice was like just madness. Yeah. And then Sovei, the name is inspired by this book I was reading called The Sovereignty of Quiet. And it talks about how your inner world is your sovereign space. And so Sovei is just sort of grown out of the word sovereign. And yeah.
We wanted to talk a little bit about your song Shadow, which was formally released with just, you know, your project Just Mad Nice, artist formerly known as.
Yes.
And it was played at the Eagles game.
It was, yeah.
How did that come about?
So Chill Moody has been such a huge support of me and my music. So he texted me with an opportunity to write a song for the Eagles. And I had already written Shadow, and lyrically it made sense for, you know, the Eagles.
Yeah.
So it actually just
It
turned
is like
out.
a stadium.
Yeah,
song.
it's a
It's not like
stadium.
pop. It has pop elements
Yeah.
for sure, but it's really expansive. Like,
Yeah.
I think hearing it over a stadium must have been so surreal.
It was awesome. It was really cool to just, that was like surreal. Because we got to go to the game too that my song was like featured on. So yeah, it was, and I brought my mom.
Aww.
And it was cute. And so the song, actually, I wrote it with just bass guitar and my voice. And then we brought it into the studio and built it up.
Sounds like your mom has come around to the idea that you're a singer.
Oh, for sure. My mom is huge support.
Yeah.
Always.
She gets it now.
Yes, she gets it now.
And that song is still in your repertoire. When I saw you at the art museum, I think you played it, right?
Yep, totally. And that was a particular, like, long event. We had 3 hours to play music, so I was really going through my whole catalog, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still, like, it has that space for improv, which is why it's sticking around.
You talked about Chill being a big supporter. And another artist that's really co-signed you in a big way is Kame, More Mother.
Yes.
And I even remember one time I had on one of my playlists, I think I played both. It was just Mad Nice era, but I played one of your songs, and then later on in my show, I played a More Mother song, and Kame had commented that, like, it's really cool that you're playing just Mad Nice. And then I was like, oh, whoa. And then I saw that you were on various More Mother projects, both as just Mad Nice and as Sovei. What's that relationship been like?
Yeah. So Kame found me through Instagram and just like DM'd me an opportunity to sing on one of their songs, and has just been very, every now and then I'll get a text being like, hey, I sent you a new song, and like I'll record in my own home and just send it. Like really little to no direction, honestly. Maybe of like, oh, I would like you to sing here. And I'll be like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll do that. And then, they've even flown me out for shows, and it's honestly surreal and wonderful. Kame's great.
She's flown you out.
Yeah. So
Where did
San
you go?
Francisco. Yeah.
Wow.
They teach out there, right?
They teach in LA.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But San Fran.
Yeah.
I guess more about your involvement in the local scene. You were a founding member of Sweet Juice Fest.
Yes, I was. But yes, I was. It's kind of
Yes, you were.
I was. It just feels so long ago.
Yeah.
Katie and I were just driving to a recording session with a friend out in the suburbs, and we were talking about how we wanted a queer music festival, and that's just in a car conversation. Sweet Juice was born, and then we had friends who were like, we also want this. And then, they've carried it and made it such a beautiful and like amazing event. So,
yeah. But I think being, still at the inception of it is huge, because that event carries a lot for the community.
Yeah.
I'm very excited that it's another year at the Arboretum. 'Cause it was a very hot day last year, but it's such a lovely space. Rigby was a great space for it too, but by the last year that they had it there, it was like, oh, this is like they're at the capacity of this space.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I guess going off the mission of Sweet Juice, you've talked about your personal mission in your art is to talk about like trans liberation, Black liberation. We wanted to give you this space on the mics to like expand on that if you wanted.
Sure. Yeah. I think that the main impetus behind my music is the belief that like there is this essential humanness to what I am expressing. And so being Black and being trans, yes, that's what I'm talking about, but like we all can relate to the things that I'm talking about because we are all human beings. And I feel like that can sometimes get lost when in identity, I think, is like sometimes that can get lost. I say like I'm not unique. What I am feeling, I'm sure someone else in the world has felt it. And so that is why I make music, because I'm like, okay, maybe I figured something out, or maybe it's just helpful to know that like what I'm feeling, like you're not alone in that feeling. I have felt that with a lot of the books that I read, and a lot of the books are about Blackness and liberation, and just like reading someone's work, I realize like, wow, okay, you know what I'm talking about. Like, that's great. That's amazing. So
it's like you feel seen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You feel seen. And I think that it is incredibly important.
Yeah, I think that's a huge skill, to be able to translate what people like across like race, gender, the human experience.
Yes.
To be able to put that to words and feeling and music.
Yeah.
That's really valuable.
Yeah.
And do it in like a very nuanced way. Going back to what you were saying earlier about having the background in visual art and poetry, if you could talk a bit about how that element of your creative, I guess, vision plays into it. Like, it seems like it's all intertwined. Like, you do these collage images for your single art and your project art. Even the photos the one photo you took, I think it was incorporated into artwork later, but it was a mask of your face that you were holding up as like that is such a striking image. The idea of Sovei is your creative vision in poetry, in music, in visual art, in fashion expression. Like can you talk about being not just a musician, but just a wholly creative person, if that makes sense?
Sure, yeah, no, that makes sense. I think that art is how I synthesize the world and the things that I encounter and feel. And I think that my music making process is similar to my art making process, in that, like with collaging, I will just come upon materials and I don't know what's going to happen. And I think with a song, I will pick up the guitar and I'm like, I don't know, but I have a feeling. So let's see. And with poetry, and even with my background in playwriting, it's all about storytelling and language and allowing, and like the specificity of language, because I think that that can, you know, choosing the right words can really create the impact that you want. So yeah, I'm very grateful that I get to do all of the things. And I think that visual art and even collage making and music work really well together. And, you know, I want to figure out how to even have that come into like my live performances somehow, and just like continue to like blur the lines of like the mediums.
Yeah. That's a really great way to put it. And even like I think like a song like Haircut, I feel like there's, even though you have like there's a solid melody and a solid progression of like verse chorus, the underlying arrangements, particularly the beginning and the end, it feels very sound collage-y. So it's kind of like taking those principles visually and even lyrically and applying them to sound as well.
I love knowing your background is in theater too. I'm kind of envisioning Sovei as like this like avant-garde like play / musical now.
yeah, for sure.
You need to get a production at Fringe Arts.
Please, let's speak it into existence.
I wanted to just gab a little bit more about your fashion, because you're one of those artists that like shows up to the gig and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what are they wearing? This is fabulous.
They're the best dressed person in the house.
Well, that's very kind.
Well, I love knowing too that because fashion and the way you show up obviously is a creative artistic expression, and kind of like follows the thread of your music in a very natural way. Where do you take inspiration from when it comes to like the visual side there?
And fashion? I feel like I'm still figuring it out in terms of like my own style, but I love playing shows because it gives me an opportunity to be more expressive than I am in my day-to-day. Like day-to-day is sweatpants and hoodies. Like that's what I love.
But even right now, your like hoodie hat combination is amazing.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I do think I am inspired by anyone who is brave with their fashion choices, and it's clearly like they're like, I like it. I don't care if you like it, but I like it. And I think that inspires me, because I strive to be more brave with my choices, not just in fashion, but in general. So I think that there's this one poet, Alok, who is just, they are so alive in the way that they dress. And that, I think, is tied to their own gender identity and queerness and all of that. And this celebration of life, too. And so I think that with performances specifically, I think that it's like my opportunity to celebrate life in like multiple avenues. And I like to dress up. I think that also comes from just like being a theater kid and like costumes and play and all of that. So
I love the opportunity of being a performer and then having an excuse almost to really show up as like your badass self.
Yeah. And I think, the stage is, we allow people to do a lot of things. Like, you just are allowed to do more on stage. It's not a liminal space, but it's just this free space.
Right.
Yeah.
You're showing up to offer something. You're not just like another face in the crowd.
Yeah.
You're the star.
Yeah, I'm singing or whatever.
So thus far, the project has been singles that have been, I gather, building to something. Is there a bigger project on the horizon for Sovei?
Yeah, for sure. So there's an EP coming. We have about 5 songs in the works. Yeah, that's about as much as I can say.
No, that's great.
Definitely building up to a larger project to be released hopefully next year.
I think we both, John and I, had thought about in your transition from Just Mad Nice to Sovei, going from like a sparser sound to something a little bit more eclectic. We've watched you play like solo and with a band. Is there like a practical element to like just being able to do what you do as a solo artist? Do you kind of prefer to have the band, or do you like the flexibility to do both?
Like sometimes you'll have an ensemble and sometimes you'll go at it alone.
There's definitely a practical element. Also, my bandmates are in a lot of other bands and a lot of projects. They're always like doing something. But I
should
definitely...
we shout out some of the...
Yeah, shout out to Martronomus, Will Courier, Eric Kramer, and Logan Roth.
Nice.
Yeah,
Amazing.
big shout out. They're the homies. But I definitely prefer playing with a band.
Yeah.
Because like I can play guitar, but like I still love to not have an instrument and just focus on singing. But yeah, that's my preference. At least one other person too, because I guess I've been doing this for a little bit now, but like I still get nervous. So like having another person there it's just comforting.
There's some shows coming up. You mentioned the 12th of April, you're going to be playing on Liz DeLisa's porch?
Yes, I think it's on their porch, but it's for their community garden. It's a fundraiser to make sure that that land stays in the community. So it is April 12th, and it's South 50th Street block. I think it's going to be like a block party.
Nice.
So
Cool.
Yeah.
I have a friend who does that work in Kensington. Like
Nice.
trying to keep the vacant lots belonging to the community instead of being developed.
Yep,
And
exactly that.
it's really important work.
For sure.
And information on that show and upcoming shows, is your IG the best place to find?
Yep, totally.
Which is
I am Sovei.
at I am Sovei.
I had one final question.
Go for it.
You've spent time in New York versus Philly. I want to just infer that you prefer Philadelphia.
Yes, 100%.
Because
Sorry,
it's
New
easy
York.
to shit on New York. But
Yeah.
how do you feel?
Well, funnily enough, most of my family, well, actually both my parents are from New York. So a lot of my
Oh, wow.
family, like both grandparents, it's like Queens, Long Island, and then I have family in the Bronx. So like New York feels like home, even though I didn't grow up there. But Philly is just a really amazing place for music, and a really supportive place for music. I think it's really special that I was able to email you my EP and you listen to it. Like that feels very unique to Philly. So thank you.
Of course.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I think that it is truly like supportive and full of community, and yeah, I really like it here.
Yay.
Yay, Philly.
We love having you here.
Yay.
So we're going to close, as the pod usually does, with an acoustic performance. What are you going to play?
I'm going to play my song Colors, which is actually one of the ones that will be on the forthcoming project.
Nice. Let's get into that.
I'm supposed to know why I am here. The answer's not clear. Said my eyes are still adjusted to the light. Oh, it's so bright. All the colors, they're yelling at me. Said, see how alike we are. See how in love we are. See how apart we are. Oh, the order of things, the giant spider web of things. Don't you hear us singing when you see? Oh, my beautiful, my oh so wonderful, oh so saturated aura and me. Said, see how alike we are. See how in love we are. See how apart we are. Oh, the order of things, giant spider web of things. Don't you hear us singing when you see? Ooh, my beautiful, my oh so wonderful, oh so saturated aura and me.
Awesome.
Woo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's our show for this month. There, I got it right. That's our show for this month. Thank you so much, Sovei, for sitting down with John and Paige and talking, and really kind of letting us into the mind, the creative process of what it is you do. Because, like I said, Sovei, simply to call them a singer-songwriter or musician, I mean, again, they are those things, but they are a lot of other things. It's just sort of a creative, artistic force. Really looking forward to more music from Sovei for the release coming out next year that they talked about, and I'm sure they'll be dropping some other music throughout this year as well. You should go see them and a whole bunch of other great artists at the 50th Street Block Party on April 12th. That's coming up from noon to 7 p.m. That's over 1226 South 50th Street, so the 1200 block of South 50th Street in West Philadelphia. That's a benefit put on to benefit the 50th Street Community Garden, like they talked about in the conversation. Liz DeLise is putting that on, and features artists like Liz, Shannon Moser, Koof, Sovei, Sam Rise. So that's, wow, what a day of music right there. So check it out, 50th Street Block Party, April 12th, 12 to 7, 1200 block of South 50th Street in West Philadelphia. Don't miss it. I think we got a lot done in this episode. We played some tunes. We heard a great conversation. Heard a great performance from Sovei from an upcoming song of theirs that's going to be on the new EP coming out. And I think we did a great job. I think we all did a great job today. Thank you all for listening, and I thank them 100 times. I'll thank them 101. Thank you, John Vettese and Paige Walter over in Philadelphia, for doing the interviews, doing the conversations, and making it so there can still be a show happening right now. Couldn't do it without them. It's 25 o'clock, Philadelphia's longest running music podcast, I believe. My name is Dan Drago, coming to you from Hong Kong. Until next time, take care of yourselves.